All right, let's just dive right in. For the better part of a century, the playbook for success was pretty clear, right? Pick one thing, go super deep, and become the go-to expert. I mean, that's the model that built our entire modern world. The thing is, that world is changing fast. The whole idea of being a deep, narrow specialist is starting to look, well, obsolete. And in this explainer, we're going to unpack exactly why, and maybe more importantly, what comes next.
So that really brings us to the big question, the one that sits at the heart of all of this. If that old, reliable 20th century model of the specialist is starting to fade, what are you becoming? What does it even mean to be valuable and skilled in a world that's just swimming in AI and constant, dizzying change? Let's figure it out together.
Okay, so before we can really look forward, we have to look back. We need to understand the world we're leaving behind, a world built on this idea of specialization. A system that, yeah, it gave us incredible progress, but it also created what one famous sociologist called an iron cage for our minds. I mean, this quote from the writer Waqas Ahmed really just cuts right to the chase, doesn't it? It's a direct challenge to something we've all been taught is a virtue. He's making the case that being super specialized isn't just old-fashioned, it's actually making us ignorant by building these massive walls between different fields of knowledge. It's stalling the very progress it was supposed to create. And this was the fundamental belief, kind of the operating system of the industrial age. The idea was simple. To make progress, you have to divide and conquer knowledge. So we did. We created all these separate university departments, super narrow job titles, all based on the assumption that this was the only way to get deep insights. And it worked. For a while. It gave us huge breakthroughs, but it also shattered our understanding of the world into a million tiny, disconnected pieces. And you might think this is a brand new debate, something that just popped up with AI. But the warnings, they've been there for over 100 years. Way back in 1917, you had Max Weber talking about this iron cage of expertise, where people get so specialized they can't see the bigger picture. Then in the 50s, C.P. Snow was famously worried about the massive gap between scientists and artists. And by 1999, thinkers like Edgar Morin were calling for a total reform of how we think, to reconnect all this disjointed knowledge. These weren't just theories, they were prophecies, and they're kind of coming true right now.
So what was the tipping point? What took those little hairline cracks we just saw and blew them wide open? Well, it's a 1-2 punch of two massive, very modern forces. We are living through a revolution, driven by artificial intelligence on one side, and a full-blown crisis of human attention on the other.
You've got this pincer movement happening, right? The specialist is getting squeezed from two directions. From the outside, you have generative AI getting scarily good at doing highly specialized work. Think writing legal documents or analyzing medical scans. And then from the inside, our own digital lives, our phones, our notifications, they're actively chipping away at our ability to do the kind of deep, focused work that specialization has always demanded.
And listen, this isn't just a hunch or a feeling. It's measurable. Just look at this timeline. Back in 2009, a Stanford study found that the people who thought they were the best multitaskers were actually the worst at it. Then in 2014, scientists literally used brain scans to show that heavy media multitasking was linked to less gray matter in the part of the brain that controls attention. This isn't just about being distracted. Our brains are physically adapting to this new environment, and it's often costing us our ability to think deeply. So, as our own ability to focus gets weaker, the threat on the professional front is getting stronger. And here's a number that should really make you sit up. The World Economic Forum predicts that a staggering 39% of core job skills, nearly 40%, are going to be disrupted by AI in just the next few years. That means the very ground is shifting under almost half of what we currently call valuable.
Okay, so we've talked a lot about the problem, the old models breaking. It's a bit doom and gloom, I know, but what's rising from the ashes? We're starting to see the emergence of what you might call the hybrid human, new models for talent that are all about balancing deep knowledge with broad understanding in really powerful new ways. Now, you've probably heard of the T-shaped professional, right? That's someone who has deep expertise in one area, that's the vertical bar of the T, but they also have a wide general knowledge across lots of other fields, the horizontal bar. It helps them collaborate. Well, the next step in that evolution is the pie-shaped professional. Think of the Greek letter pi. It's someone with deep expertise in two different fields. This lets them connect ideas from both domains in ways a single focus expert just can't. And this leads us to a really fascinating, almost futuristic new job title, the knowledge architect. Now, their skill isn't in knowing one thing deeply. Their skill is in designing and structuring knowledge from many fields. They're like the conductor of an orchestra made up of human specialists and AI agents, all working together to solve problems so complex that no single expert could ever tackle them alone. So what's in the toolkit for a knowledge architect? It's this amazing mix of skills. You can kind of group them into three buckets. First, you've got the tech stuff, right? Understanding AI, knowing how to design good prompts. Second, there's the big picture strategy, thinking in systems, aligning goals. And finally, and maybe most importantly, there are the uniquely human skills, having ethical judgment, being the one who verifies quality, and most of all, communicating across all those different disciplines. You are the human hub in the center of a human AI web. But here's the thing. This cool knowledge architect future, it's not guaranteed. It's not a done deal. We are standing at a crossroads right now, and the choices we're making as people, as companies, as societies are gonna lead us down one of three very, very different paths. So let's break down these three possible futures. First, you could have this specialist plus AI world. Here, the experts who are left become incredibly powerful with their AI tools, but we just need way fewer of them, leading to massive job displacement. The second future is the knowledge architect one we talked about. Sounds great, but it could easily create a new cognitive elite, widening the gap between them and everyone else. And then there's the third, and honestly the most worrying path, the fragmented worker. This is a future where stable jobs get broken down into little gigs, all managed by algorithms, creating a really unstable workforce with very few rights. And the scary part, or maybe the exciting part, depending on how you look at it, is that this isn't some far-off science fiction scenario. We are actively, right now, building one of these futures with every business decision, every government policy, every course we teach. So the real question isn't what will happen, it's which path are we on right now? Which brings it all back home. It brings it back to you. How do you personally navigate all this chaos and uncertainty? It really boils down to upgrading your mental operating system, moving past the familiar growth mindset to something more radical. We've all heard of the growth mindset for years, right? The idea that I can get better at the things I do. It's powerful. But in the age of AI, it's maybe not quite enough. We need what you could call a transformation mindset. This isn't just about improving who you are. It's about being willing to fundamentally redesign who you are, what you do, and even how you think by deeply integrating new tools like AI into your identity. It's about evolution, not just improvement. So how do you actually build this new mindset? Well, it seems to stand on 5 key pillars. You start with agility and continuous learning. That's the engine, always being ready to adapt and learn. But that engine needs a steering wheel, which is critical thinking, especially for judging what AI gives you. And to actually make change happen with other people, you need the human skills, empathy to understand and lead them, and innovativeness, the courage to try new things and not be afraid to fail. You know, in the end, it really just boils down to this one simple but incredibly powerful idea. The winds of change are blowing like a hurricane right now. You can either try to build a wall to protect what you already know, or you can build a windmill and harness all that energy to power your own future. Because here's the truth. Whether you've thought about it this way or not, your mind is already a hybrid. Every time you use Google to remember something or your phone to navigate, you're creating this extended mind that's part biology, part technology. So the final question isn't if you're a hybrid. The only question left is, in that partnership, who's in control? You or the algorithm?